Alright, hi, good day to everyone who's watching this. Alright, this video is one segment in testimony with my life, but I don't want to use the word testimony because it relates to something religious or something, right? It's just me telling you what I know in terms of how life works. Alright, everything in which I say is based on my deliverance with the Lord. Alright, now the Bible mentions that deliverance is the children's bread. Like he didn't want to use testimony, but he's referring to religion. No, I'm referring to real life, right? Life, right? God is real. Jesus is the Son of God. This is life. It's not something religious, but it's truth. It's the world truth. It's the best way to put it, all right? So this video, as I was saying, right? The these with beauty, all right? But we're gonna go back to the bread. How the Bible mentions that deliverance is the children's bread, all right? Jesus said when the lady was wanted deliverance for her daughter, right? He said that he wasn't sent except to the house of Israel. You know, it's not good to take the children's bread and give it to the little dogs. Right? And then she replied, Lord help me please, but even the little dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table, the crumbs which fall from the master's table. All right. Now beauty. What is beauty? Beauty is when Alright, the devil, I need to give you some background history in case you did not know. Alright, the devil is being allowed to create the world in which he would like to create. And he's also being allowed to interact with you in the world as all the people you have in your life. Alright, so what he did was he redefined the world and life, what it means to live. Right, and then he's interacting with you and doing all sorts of stuff to you, with you, while you do not know how life is supposed to be experienced and lived. So he gets something brutally wicked in exchange, and you just get a normal everyday life, right? Because you don't know what it is you're supposed to have. Alright, I explained this in the previous videos, but there's more to be explained. I'm not going to talk about it now. You can get everything you need from the previous videos, and the Lord will show you the rest. Alright, it's like a partnership. I say some stuff, the Lord will. All the Lord has to do is just deliver you, alright, from Lucifer's dogmas and bondage. And what he did was he laid down a lot of dogmas. Right? A dogma is a law laid down by an authority figure which is incontrovertibly true. Right? So he laid down a ton of dogmas. And these things are only laid down because when he fell, he fell 1/3 of the angels. Alright? They're not in hell because hell comes at the final judgment. Alright? They are all not reserved in chains, as the Bible says that the angels are reserved in chains till the judgment, because one dude had a legion of demons in him. Right? And they were going, his disciples and him were going all over the place, and they were delivering people from demons, and they were like, have you come to torment us before our time? That statement itself gives you a sneak peek of that they have been given the role of being allowed to do certain things in the world. The Bible literally says that the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope. Right? Because the creation will be delivered from the bondage of corruption. The Bible also says that the flesh wars against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these two things are contrary, right? So that you do not do the things in which you like. Alright, some people need to see it. Exchange your word lust with wars. For the flesh wars against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that you, the individual, do not do the things that you wish. Right? The flesh lays down its dogmas, but it's as Paul said, for what I am doing I do not understand, for what I will to do that I do not practice, for what I hate that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree with the Lord that it is good. But now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. For I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, nothing good dwells. So the flesh is not sinful, but what dwells in the flesh, and this is what this is referring to. For the flesh wars against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Right? So when he fell 1/3 of the angels. Jesus mentioned the strong man. Right? Book 11:21. When a strong man fully armed guards his own palace, his goods are in peace. This is him, the strong man. Right? The strong man keeps you from doing what you want to do. Alright? And they act for you, through you, as you. Alright, it's mind control is the way to put it. And when you're doing deliverance, you enter deliverance, you just go after sinful habits, sinful natures. Right? As listed here, right? So lust, spirits of sodomy, stuttering, demons make you stutter, you just made me stutter. Right? What is sodomy as in all sex, fornication, ecstasy, you're just sitting down and all of a sudden you just feel to have sex, like a huge drive. Right? Cussing, demons do it. Right, so when you partake in deliverance, you go after these spirits, right, and then they manifest and then you cast them out. But the end of deliverance is when you kick out the strong man, right? When you stop this, right? When you get everything, right? You get to see that you never said it, that you never had a single thought that came from you, and you never spoke a single word that came from you, and you never did anything at all that came from you. Right? And that they were just controlling you as they made their false world and are interacting with you as your mother or father, whatever, and that they're the ones who have always been wicked towards you in any other area of life. Say you're dating or something, these people who are just like perverse and like they're just hard to deal with, and they're a pain in the ass to deal with, right? And people who have been mean or wicked for no reason at all, right? They are the same people whom you sit down and you eat food with as a family and friends and talk to. It's like they're doing evil to you on this end, and then they come act and be good to you on this end. Right? It's like a science project, and you're like the dummy, right? But they don't have enjoyment over the false world in which they have created, because the Lord and people who know better have prayed against them. And then certain things have been put into place, so they're just utterly tormented. They have life, they have control of life, they have you, they have all these fake people in your life, right, interacting with you, right? But it's like they are null and void in terms of being receptive to what it is they are doing. Right? They know what it is they are doing, but they are not receptive to it. It's like a spiritual penalty for what it is they are doing to you. Alright? I really know you understand what it is I'm saying. This is why Jesus said that, what is it for a man to gain the whole world if he loses his own soul? Right? They're making me talk all weird and whatnot, right? So they gained the whole world, they gained everyone in the world, they can do whatever they want to you in the world because they are you, right? And they're interacting with you, alright? What they were counting on was a big reveal when you die and you see actuality of this world, right? And you'll be like, oh, God was allowing them to do this. But now you know better, right? You know better before you die. So that big reveal of theirs failed. Alright, but as I said, this video is about beauty. But I wanted to give you the background before we continue. So it's as I said, right? He put down a lot of dogmas in the world. Alright, beauty in this world, like when you stand and you look at an open plain, like say trees and grass, and you're like, oh, what a beautiful world, it feels all nice, right? Like say that's like your local area in which you live, right? Compare it to any area in which you've ever seen on TV or the internet that looks beautiful. Now, do they measure the same quality of beauty? The answer is no. Right? The one you've seen on the internet, the one in which you don't have access to, right, is more beautiful than the one in which you have access to. What about the homes and cities, right? All these things, right? But he does this via something called ASMR, right? What he did is when he got the world, and you know how you would take a frog and dissect it, right? But at the end of the day, every single portion of the frog that you dissect, when brought together, gives you a whole picture. And frogs are extremely beautiful, right? So what he did was like he dissected, right, the world and what makes it nice and beautiful, right? and he just took certain elements and put them in certain places in which would benefit him and his kingdom, in which to harm you even more, right? And so enter ASMR. I've mentioned this before, but in all of sex, it's full of ASMR, which is why women like it, which is why guys like it. When you first partake of it, it's kind of weird, right? But as time goes by, you start to like it because you're being fed ASMR, right? What is ASMR? Stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Right, it's more like visual and audio stimulation reaches a peak. That's the idea of sensory. Ignore the rest of the stuff with your shivering and all this nonsense, right? It's when this visual, audio, and sensational reaches a peak, right? And even taste, right? This whole world, think about the best sex in which you've ever had, right? This whole world, every single thing in which you do has that, as a visual peak, audio peak, a sensory peak, every single thing. You looking at your hand in front of your face has peaks like that. And it's only when you're delivered from his dogmas of bondage is when you see it, is when you feel it, right? They literally made something called normal, right? You're just normal in the world, everything's normal. There's no such thing as normal in the world. Every single thing blows you away, right? But you haven't even begun to live. You know what's the greatest ASMR response for me when I've had in the world? Right? When you're having sex and the woman is sprawled out in front of you and the legs open and you see everything, sensory, visual, sensations, and you feel it, right? But it's a counterfeit to the original, because when you have this and you interact with her outside of sex, it's always something sexual, it's always something lustful. And if it isn't there, it's because you're not in the mood, and her body, it doesn't feel as it does when you're there, when you're quote unquote in the mood. It feels normal, it feels bland, she's not attractive. Because the demons responsible for giving you the opposite are responsible for giving you the opposite, right? So some women feel like, like they're not measuring up, or they can't turn you on, and they feel bad, they feel hurt, and they feel ugly, right? And then they want to be loved by someone, right? If you're having sex, right, and the other person's body takes the pedestal, like in terms of like you don't even feel your body, because you're supposed to feel how your body feels and how it appears to the other individual, because you're also alive, right? But in reality, in the devil's world, you're not alive, right? Let's put this, you're a puppet, and you have to look at the things in which you would like you to observe, right? You're not alive. You don't feel yourself. As you sit down listening to me speak, you don't even feel your personality of who you are as an individual. It's null and it's void, right? It's always supposed to be present, right? Because when you're having sex and you feel your body present, or when you're interacting with a girl and you feel your body present as a dude, right? You get to see why she loves you, why she's attracted to you so much, right? And it makes you like think about like a soft ball, like really nice soft ball, and you squeeze into it nice and firm or soft, and it makes you want to squeeze into her even more in a tender way, and in a way in which she desires, because you feel yourself. When you don't feel yourself, you just see her, right? And the devil is making her perceive it, so she acts a certain way, right? She starts to flirt and all this thing goes on, she starts to show off her assets, right? And it changes, the mood changes, alright? So what is beauty? The devil in this world says, oh, beauty is on the inside. No. Beauty is the whole package. Sensory, audio, visual, right? Because as I said in a previous video, in the one in which you were made in His image and likeness, do you see yourself? Right? Your soul on the inside is reflected on the outside. Right? And all these things make up the beauty of the individual. And beauty is really breathtaking when you can see it. It's astounding. The depths of the human heart, the depths of the human soul. Right? It's really beautiful. And this logo is, in case you're wondering, is I'm a college student doing graphic design for my bachelor's degree, and this is just something that I created for social media, for my Instagram. Right? It refers to me, the Lord. He calls me the jackal, right? The laughing jackal, right? Because what I do to Lucifer and his kingdom, right? So it's just me laughing at them based on what it is I'm doing to them, right? You can ask them about it when you do it, when you're doing deliverance and one of them manifests. Ask them about the jackal, and then you'll get to hear some past events which took place between me and them, or current events. Alright? So beauty. Oh boy, oh boy. Typing on a keyboard presents ton of ASMR. Using a mouse presents ton of ASMR. Using your phone does. Walking does. Right? Moving your eyes around the room does. Seeing depth of field or things are blurred does. Right? Observing cloth blowing in the wind does. Right, but you get all these things one by one. You don't get them all at the same time, like if you're existing, because Lucifer has to make you focus on things in which you'd like for you to see at any given point in time. Bad sex is only bad sex because there is no ASMR. That's why it's bad sex. Right? Literally. It has nothing to do with the individual. Right, one thing, demons control when you climax. In the blink and the drop of a hat, they can make you climax. Right? It's nothing to do with the individual. If you ever had sex outside of marriage, every single time you climax was the demon. Everything is scripted. Every single thing is scripted. Right? Every single thing is. So the individual has nothing. What the devil sought to do was to make him and his angels, when they interact with you, the best of the best. Right? While you are just in the audience receiving what they have to give you. Right? And then he turns the dial, right? And he makes you out to be the best of the best when you're fully in terms of devoted or in a relationship with them. Right? So you're doing all sorts of stuff for them. It's wicked. Really wicked. That's the only time you get to shine. This thing is really beautiful when you can see it. This whole user face is really beautiful when you can see it. Really. You think you're seeing it, but you're not seeing it. Because you're supposed to see this interface with the monitor or screen in which you're seeing it on. And then you're supposed to see the overall picture of all the devices next to the monitor and the screen, and then the environment, and then your soul. You still can't even feel your personality as you listen to what I'm saying and looking at the screen. Right? And all these things come into play. Right? So what the devil did is what he made you alive while not being alive. Right? But Jesus said, the stone in which you roll on others will also be rolled on to you. So it's even worse for them. So don't fret if you are given over to these things in the world. Because you got enjoyment out of it. At the end of the day, you got pleasure. Right? But now you know better. You're not supposed to get pleasure from these things. You wouldn't even be doing them in the first place, because not doing it and just having normal sex feels even greater than it. Right? And not fornicating and meeting someone. Right? And you both understanding that you're going to be dating and getting married, right, is so much more beautiful than fornicating. Having sex outside of marriage, having these relationships. You know how beautiful it is to meet someone, right? I know that this is your partner. I know that you're going to be seeing each other. There is no, oh, they text me, I'm going to take a while to text back. Oh, they call me, I'm going to take a while to call back to answer the phone. There is none of this. That each individual on the face of the earth has a partner. When you see your partner, it's obvious, right? Because they are your partner. You know. When you don't see your partner, it's deals with infatuation or lust. The devil makes it out to be as such, right? So now he's skewered. He's laid down a dogma, right? That love at first sight could be finicky because it could just be lust, or it could just be admiration, or you just liking someone's appearance, and because you've seen a beautiful person. Everyone is supposed to be beautiful at a higher degree. There is no such thing as a normal looking person, right? No one is supposed to walk in a room and kill everybody else because they're more beautiful than everyone else or more handsome than everyone else. There's no such thing. That's the devil doing it. Alright? And beauty. The only thing in this world which is not worth your time or investment, right, but you have no say in the matter, is sin. The devil is doing what he wants to do. That's the only thing. And they have proper judgment because they're making you have improper judgment. Alright? So they know right from wrong. Don't think they're just doing evil for the sake of doing evil. Right? There's a word called perverse. It means deliberately and obstinately behaving in a way that is unreasonable and unacceptable. They have you, right? They make you see as if sin is not being perverse and that they're just bad people in the world, but it's perverse. Right? The Lord sees them doing perversity. Right? He deals with them as such. But they have someone that is not aware of it, and you live your life in it as you grow and you develop. Right? But it's all vanity. The creation was subjected to futility, vanity, not willingly, but because of Him who subjected it in hope. Because He wanted us to make it worse for them in the end. Right? So you grow as an individual. You did not need. This life is of no profit when it comes to sin and your life before the Lord. Right? It only profits the angels, the tears when they interact with you. That's the only profit. The only profit you get from it is knowing what the devil has done to you, and knowing what he's doing to other people, and what to pray against, what to come against in deliverance. That's your only profit. Nothing else. Literally nothing else. You may say, oh well, you were having sex and now you have experience, right, to be a better sexual partner. Oh, there is no such thing. Right? You are wired for it. Right? The devil, he keeps you from seeing that you're really wired. Right? And he put you down a certain path to take. So it's like you gain the experience. There's no such thing as it. That's it. And you can think in your head the reasons why he would have done something like that. Everyone knows how to run a race. Left foot, right foot, you push your all the way to the end. Everyone knows how to have sex. Left foot, right foot, you go all the way to the end. Right. It's a push and a pull. Right, but it's a dance of love and affection and tenderness. And then it becomes not one of tenderness, but really deep tenderness. Right? It goes. I don't need to explain it to you. And you can think for yourself and you can see. But friendship and companionship is the bread and the butter. Alright? But when I say these words and use these words, any sexual aspect of it goes away. But then you're opposite sex, so it's always supposed to be something sexual. Right? But it's not supposed to be as sexual as the devil defines relationships in the world. But it's still supposed to be sexual. Do you see it? Because the opposite sex. right? What you get is like a padded companionship, friendship, relationship. Right? You don't get man and woman. Right? You don't get that. And everything in which you do together is supposed to reflect it. The differences between you and her. And those two differences, they make the entire thing beautiful. Reason why I made this video, I sat down here and make a video on beauty. What is beauty? Beauty for me in my head right now is what I explained before, right? But it drips into everything else. You want to know just how beautiful someone is and how you're supposed to view them? Sit down, right, and try to create a character from start to finish, whether it be male or female. Right? If you're a female, try to make a male character. If you're a male, try to make a female character. And when you make her from the ground up, and you see her, right, and give every single thing into consideration as you design her, right? It's the way in which you're supposed to view your partner, right? But the difference is that you're in love with the other individual. So it changes certain variables in the picture, but some of the variables remain the same, or the essence remains the same. And this video is a matter of the heart. Right? It's to spool your heart up. Right? Turbo needs to be spooled. Turbo in a car. When the car sneezes, it goes and that's the turbo spooling up. Then it sneezes because they release the pressure, and the built up pressure comes out, so it goes Alright. One of the nicknames the Lord gave me is powered by lag. Right, powered by lag. Right. People also refer to turbo in certain essence as lag, because it takes a while for it to kick in sometimes if it's too big. Right, so it spools up, it builds up, right, and then it kicks in. Right, so you're powered by lag, you're powered by turbo. Lag is also a phrase used in online video games. The game lags, there's a delay. Right? So he gave me powered by lag because I'm powered by love, I'm powered by turbo. Right? And there's no delay. Right? Because in perfection there is no delay, unless the delay is intended so that it will be perfect. Right? It's weird. And he has nicknames for you. You should ask him your nicknames. And I have a couple. I can spill them so you can have something to look forward to. One would be Dauntless. Right? One, as I said, was powered by lag. Then there's Slickfoot. Then there's Coin Tangent. Then the angels gave me Crimson Avenger. Right? Excuse me, the angels gave me Sparrowhawk. Right? Then there's, let's see, what's the other one? Then there's Toga-san. Toga like Japanese. Toga-san. That means the one who enjoys defilement in terms of the fallen angels, what I do to them. Right? And there's many more. So for you, it's the same. Right? And the Lord, He made cameos of you as an individual, of who you are, in many media or mediums in the world. So music, some of the songs in which they sing are actually songs about you that He and the angels made. In video games, some of the characters you see in video games is based off of you, or are based off of you. Right? Some of the books in which you read, some of the characters are based off of you. Some of the shows in which you see, like anime or manga. Right? Anime and manga is really good, but the thing is you haven't seen the beauty in them. And the examples in which you've seen are the devil's examples, or a paradigm. Paradigm is a typical example of something. You've seen it, you don't like it. Right? And these characters are based off of you. Songs are based off of you, and He makes all these things for you. Right? And you take the weight of what He did to create you, and it's the same weight in which He did to create your partner. You know what I think when I think about my partner? what life do you live in terms of existing? Like, what things do you sit down and watch, and things in which you enjoy? What things do you regard? Like, say for example, right? I sit down sometimes on YouTube and look at these videos where these guys are chopping up fish, right? And it's really nice to see, you know. And you're looking at the raw fish and you're like, man, that looks so good to eat, right? And it's all bloody and all this stuff, right? Right. So I'm thinking, like, I wonder if they experience these things that I'm seeing and experiencing, you know. Or say for like National Geographic or Discovery Channel. I don't have TV, right, anymore, cable or whatever, right? Just internet, right? And you see these places like uh, in the cold regions where there's moose and bear, and you see the environment and like, oh, it's beautiful to see. Like, do they see these things? Do they hold these things in regard? Are they brainless? Do they sit down on social media and just look at memes whole day? What type of memes do they know? What type of memes can I use as reference? You know, you ever seen the meme with the black guy and his hand on his head? Yeah. I'm thinking these things, right? It's like, it's wild. And then you see that when they're in a relationship with people, right, and they interact with each other, it has none of these wholesome moments. It's a relationship, but it's not deep, as you know yourself to be deep, you know. And it's done effortlessly because you're a real person, right? You're not a tear, you're not a fallen angel, right? You exist to give love to someone else, right? So when you interact with someone else, it's based off of the love in which you've received by the Lord in the world, and these things become a part of you, right? And you're just who you are, and who you are defines how you interact with the other individual, right? And it's different. It was so people that I dated were so brain dead when you speak to them or interact with them. You can't like have certain conversations with them because there's nothing there to be had. Right, but when I saw my read of a girl and saw her eyes, oh boy, it's like, I want to see what you have to give me because no one else had this. There was a desire in her that was so pure and wholehearted. Right? And when I said it, like, you know, I want to see what you have to give to me, it was me being the same way, but in a male version. I really hope you understand it. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation, this matter of the heart, as one of my friends like to call it. Alright, so take care.